Monday, everybody. Today we are speaking about the second part of food perception. So, a factor that has an influence on food ethics is the change in the standards of living in a society. A poor society cannot afford to do distinction among species of animals or only in terms of a higher productivity of them, and it cannot guarantee the life of animals as it can happen in developed countries toward the pets, but also those for breeding. And the poor society cannot guarantee the slaughtering techniques. In Europe, there is a very detailed legislation that regulates the treatments of animals destined for slaughtering, but also for other activities or functions. In example, animals used for pet therapy. This does not happen in other countries that have even the problem of hunger and starvation. We report the case of a photo shoot appeared in the Daily Mail, the journal, that reported the assault of a carcass of an elephant in Zimbabwe, Africa. So now I read this part of the article. For most of us, an elephant died of an old age in the savannah bush is just a sad scene, but for hundreds of desperate people who die every day of hunger in Zimbabwe has been a real boon. A few minutes after having located the carcass in the remote corner of the Goneradzu National Park, a growing group of people has emerged from the surrounding bush, coming from everywhere, armed with machetes, axes, and a knife made from tin cans. The men approached the died pachyderm, a giant of 6 tons and almost 4 meters tall, and in less than 2 hours, 1 hour and 47 minutes to be precise, they have literally fleeced it, tearing the meat into pieces and leaving only the skeleton. Not even the trunk and the ears were saved from this authentic butchery, and even the bones were lately taken away to be boiled and become a soup. Less than 24 hours later, all that remained of the elephant was a blood blotch in the savannah. Leaving aside, so the part of the article is finished. Leaving aside impressions of the journalist that, however, leak out a clear ethical position, the article demonstrates how, depending on economic conditions, both the acceptance of eating a certain type of food and the modalities by which obtain it reflect the close relationship between food ethics and welfare of person and society in which they live. As absurd then, we can say that abundance of food in this case elicit the creation of new rights and new crimes. So this is the really important part. Sorry, what a moment. Can I keep the line? So the abundance of food may elicit the creation of new rights and new crimes. In other words, for some reasons that it is not the moment to analyze now, with the growing of prosperity and empathy toward others increases, or we want to avoid being involved in certain type of activity, or rather we don't want to know what really happens. So in this way we evolve our society when ethics, food ethics, and empathy grow. This produces movement of opinion that create fair way of behaving and then pretend that the others follow them too. As a result of the growing number of people following this movement, there is the creation of social needs that result in laws. Those who infringe these laws is indictable of or finable, and for the same conduct in another state or in the same state in the past, they would not have been punished or not suffer any punishment. A symbolic case is represented by the laws about the companion animals, pet animals, and in recent years have increased their relative importance in the legislation of many Western countries. Granting rights to those who cannot defend themselves is, however, at least partially, a matter of evolution. Rights exist at the degree to which they are granted and are requested. They could be claimed also by those who are not directly involved, as in the case of animals, and the practical consequence is the creation of laws requested by those which have had a strong empathic feeling towards them. All this reasoning, at least in part, help us in stating that food is not necessarily an absolute human being's right. Or better, we can say that all type of rights are fictitious creations more or less regulated or defended by the law to ensure social equilibrium, and in final analysis also psychological equilibrium of people in a given area and in a given historical period. Of this right, albeit fictitious, there is still a big need. In fact, now I report a text of Colombo e Onorati written in 2009, where they say, it is good to recall now this right of food, an intrinsic right of every woman, man and child, on which it should be grafted agricultural and food policies and the production and distribution logics. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 was the first that recognized the right to food as a fundamental human right, which was then incorporated in the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights adopted in 1966 and ratified by 156 countries that are bound to its provisions. This is what Colombo e Onorati say. This right of food, I say, has been established for complex reasons that we are not analyzing here now. Now, we repeat solely the concept that the promotion and the recognition of these rights are needed for social equilibrium and individual serenity. So, with this, I have finished the part of food perception. Mandi a tutti, at the next time. Bye bye.